People often ask how I built Grace Legacy Academy with ChatGPT and Codex, but that question usually assumes they were doing the same job. They were not. I use them as two different tools inside one founder-led process. ChatGPT helps me think, organize, challenge, edit, and preserve continuity across a very large body of work. Codex works closer to implementation. It helps inspect, build, test, repair, document, and move technical work through the repository. The roles sometimes overlap, but I assign the work based on what the task actually needs. The simplest explanation is this. ChatGPT often helps me make the work coherent before implementation. Codex helps make the implementation coherent after the decision, and I remain responsible for deciding what the system is supposed to do. ChatGPT is my collaborative thinking layer. It is where a lot of the architecture becomes language I can examine. I use it to map systems, structure curriculum, clarify requirements, compare options, identify contradictions, edit documents, create production briefs, and carry decisions across projects that could easily become fragmented. It also challenges me. I do not need a tool that agrees with every idea I have. I need one that can notice missing steps, question whether two systems truly align, and point out when I am trying to solve 5 different problems with one feature. But ChatGPT is not the source of authority. It works from the source materials, context, rules, and decisions I provide. When it misunderstands the architecture, I correct it. When its recommendation is stronger than mine, I use it. The value is not automatic agreement. The value is structured reasoning that I can evaluate. ChatGPT also functions as an editorial layer. Grace Legacy includes curriculum, governance language, technical documentation, product descriptions, video scripts, and founder records. Those materials cannot sound like they came from 10 unrelated organizations. I use ChatGPT to preserve terminology, sequence, tone, boundaries, and conceptual integrity across the ecosystem. That means catching language that overpromises, noticing when a technical description conflicts with the educational model, recognizing when a lesson has drifted into another content lane, or helping restore the founder voice when a document starts sounding too institutional. Editing is not only grammar, it is architecture expressed through language. Once the decision and language are clear enough to build, the work moves into the implementation environment. Codex is my senior engineering layer. It works closer to the codebase and technical artifacts. I use it to inspect repositories, understand existing structures, implement features, repair defects, revise files, document changes, and verify whether the system behaves the way the requirement says it should. A useful Codex task is not simply make this better. It includes the purpose, source material, boundaries, expected behavior, and standard for completion. Codex may identify a technical risk or recommend a different approach. Sometimes that changes my plan. Sometimes the educational, business, or governance requirement means I reject the easier technical option. I call it a senior engineering layer because I expect disciplined implementation, technical review, and honest challenge. Not because it owns the product. The work moves through a review loop. I define the need. ChatGPT helps clarify the architecture or requirement. I approve the direction. Codex inspects the system and implements the work. Then the result moves through testing, review, correction, documentation, and final approval. Sometimes implementation reveals a conceptual problem and the work returns to ChatGPT. Sometimes Codex identifies an incomplete requirement and sends it back. Sometimes I stop the entire process because the feature does not belong in the system at all. That loop is where quality comes from. The tools accelerate parts of the process. They do not eliminate the process, and they definitely do not eliminate the founder. Some of the most useful moments are the ones where the AI board members fight with me. That may mean ChatGPT saying the scope is too large, Codex refusing a technically unsafe shortcut, or both tools identifying a contradiction I would rather deal with later. It can also mean me saying no because the recommendation does not understand the human context, curriculum, privacy boundary, or long-term architecture. I treat disagreement as information, then I evaluate the information and make the decision. Responsible collaboration requires enough humility to accept correction and enough authority to reject advice that does not fit the system. ChatGPT helps me reason, structure, edit, and preserve coherence. Codex helps me inspect, implement, test, repair, and maintain technical coherence. Neither one carries the mission, owns the intellectual property, or assumes responsibility for what reaches the learner. That remains my work. The strength of the process comes from role clarity. Use the right tool for the right task. Preserve source authority. Verify the output. And keep final decisions human. In the next video, I will show what human-led AI collaboration actually looks like in practice, including iteration, correction, resistance, and the parts that are much less magical than the finished demo makes them appear. Subscribe to Grace Legacy Academy and follow the build one decision, revision, and occasional AI board meeting at a time.